chaos connoisseurs, and welcome back to the only news show that breaks down bombs, bills, and bullshit, all before the babies wake up from their evening nap. I am camera ready, full of opinions, and currently running a farm where 8 baby Jersey giant chicks think they pay the mortgage. They peep louder than a congressional hearing and throw more shade than a press secretary. If you're here for truth with a twist, sass with stats, and the occasional chicken cameo, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Let's get into tonight's bombshell. I mean that almost literally. On June 25th, the CIA and Golden Dawn's White House strutted out with a fresh headline. New intelligence confirms U.S. strikes obliterated Iranian nuclear facilities. Oh, obliterated, you say? Interesting choice of words for a region teetering on the edge of full-blown chaos. Now, the strikes apparently followed days of escalating tensions between Iran and Israel. Israel started with airstrikes on June 13th. Iran fired missiles back, and then America kicked the door down with a good old-fashioned fireworks show, just in time for the 4th of July spirit of reckless nationalism. Trump's calling it a total victory. Meanwhile, Iran is over there saying, actually, our retaliation worked too. Thank you very much. So now, both sides are patting themselves on the back like we didn't just take 2 steps closer to nuclear roulette. And get this, now there's a ceasefire, but it comes with warnings from Israel, from the US, from literally everyone. The kind of ceasefire where one wrong move gets us a mushroom cloud and a CNN countdown clock. And here's the kicker, left-wing outlets are out here saying severely damaged and urging caution, while right-wing media is screaming obliterated like it's a high score in Call of Duty. Same facts, different spin. Welcome to American journalism, where the truth has a PR team. Moral of the story, the only thing being fully destroyed might be our ability to separate truth from theater. And baby, I've seen enough theater to know when someone's overreacting. So to recap, we bombed Iran, bragged about it, maybe exaggerated, just a smidge, and now we're hiding the receipts from Congress like a teenager who crashed dad's car and blamed it on the mailbox. Which brings us to our next headline, because the chaos never sleeps, and neither, apparently, does the propaganda machine. Let's keep it rolling. So just when you thought this administration couldn't get any more suspicious, the Trump White House is now limiting what it tells Congress. You know, the people literally elected to provide oversight, because apparently the Iran strike wasn't the big old boom Daddy Don promised. According to leaked internal assessments, those completely obliterated nuclear sites might not have been so obliterated after all, which means either the intelligence was overblown or overblown on purpose, or someone doesn't know how to read a satellite map. Either way, instead of transparency, Trump's response is less information for Congress, more hush-hush behind closed doors. Because if there's one thing that screams freedom, it's keeping your co-equal branch of government in the dark about military actions that could drag us into World War III. This is like flunking a science project and then banning the teacher from grading you. Don't worry about the results, just trust me, it exploded real good. And here's the part no one wants to say out loud. This isn't about national security. It's about narrative control. If the strike wasn't as successful as he claimed, that makes Trump look weak. And Trump doesn't do weak. He does walls. He does golden toilets. He does projection. So yeah, Congress gets the silent treatment. Meanwhile, the American public, we get fed a storyline with all the clarity of a fog machine in a fireworks warehouse. Trust but verify? Nah, this administration prefers lie big than lock the evidence. So to recap, this administration bombs countries, hides the details, then gaslights the public about how great everything's going. But don't worry, they're not just waging war overseas, they're waging one right here at home too. But don't worry, they're not just waging war overseas, they're waging one right here, at home too. Because while missiles fly abroad, the Senate just dropped a legislative nuke on the American working class. Let's talk about the big, beautiful bill and who's actually cashing in. Let's break down the Senate's so-called Big Beautiful Bill, or as I like to call it, the Pickpocket Act of 2025. This bill is being sold like it's going to help the average American, but let's look what it actually does with cold hard numbers. If you're in the top 1% making over $500,000 a year, congratulations! You're getting a $61,000 to $80,000 tax break. That's a luxury car. That's a down payment on a second home. That's a private chef for the year. All gifted to you by the government like you needed the help. Now, let's look at the middle class, a family making $60,000 to $80,000 a year. Your big tax break is, wait for it, maybe $100 to $200. That's not even a week's worth of groceries with inflation. You save just enough to take your family to Olive Garden once. And if you're low income, let's say you're making under $30,000 a year, the bill actually costs you. With cuts to food assistance, Medicaid, and housing programs, you could lose up to $1,600 a year. That's rent. That's your kids' asthma meds. That's dinner on the table. So no, this isn't tax reform. It's wealth redistribution in reverse. They're siphoning resources from the people who need them most and giving them to the ones who already have everything. And if you dare to ask questions, they'll call it class warfare. But baby, class warfare already happened, and working people are the ones lying on the battlefield. This bill is not beautiful, it's brutal, and every senator who voted for it should have to hand deliver eviction notices to the people they just sold out. So to recap, the Senate just handed the rich a tax cut that could buy a Tesla and toss the rest of us a coupon for a free side of fries if we behave. But don't go anywhere because that's just the main course. Now it's time for dessert or disaster, depending on how you like your headlines. Let's fly through this week's chaos with some quick hits. Let's fly through this madness. Democratic led states are suing to stop Trump from slashing federal grant funding. Translation, the states are parenting the federal government now because somebody's got to put limits on the toddler with executive power. A California official is under fire for allegedly calling on gangs to intervene in immigration raids. So we've skipped straight from sanctuary cities to Fast and Furious Ice Edition. What is happening? Trump called Fed Chair Jerome Powell an average mentally person and says he's shopping for replacements. You know things are bad when the man who sells gold-plated steaks is calling someone else mentally average. HUD is moving operations from DC to Virginia because nothing says affordable housing like putting a little more distance between policymakers and the people they're screwing over. RFK Jr. creates a vaccine advisory panel to review shots for kids. Because when you think science and safety, you obviously call in the guy who thinks Wi Fi causes brain fog. Genius. A mediator proposed a $20 million settlement to Trump's CBS lawsuit. That's $20 million to make sure he stops talking, a deal most of us would crowdfund by lunch. Whew, that was a whirlwind of lawsuits slash funding and grown men calling each other names like it's recess. So let's reset our nervous system with something pure, something wholesome, something with tiny feet and feather fuzz. You already know it's time to meet my baby chicks. Tell me something good. All right, let's end on a high now. And by high, I mean chirpy, fluffy, and cuter than anything in Congress. I just welcomed 8 little Jersey Giant chicks to the farm, and y'all, I'm obsessed. These girls are tiny now, but give it a few months and they'll be the Beyonce-sized hens of the backyard, strutting, clucking, and laying eggs like it's their full-time job, because it will be. Right now, though, they're just living their best baby chick lives, peeping, flopping over their own feet, and occasionally looking at me like they're the ones bringing me. The attitude, already present. The cuteness, absolutely criminal. They're soft, sassy, and a reminder that even in a world full of chaos, new beginnings still come with feathers and hope. If you want to see these tiny future queens in action, check out my Instagram or TikTok to meet all 8 of my Jersey Giant chicks. Guaranteed to bring your feed one fluffy strut at a time. As she might be Tina, go now before they outgrow this cuteness. And that's the show, folks. From missile strikes and Senate scams to chicks with more personality than half of Capitol Hill. Remember, the world may be on fire, but out here, I've got 8 fluffy baby hens learning to strut, and frankly, they're more organized than Congress. If you need a break from the madness, go meet the girls over on Instagram or TikTok. Trust me, watching them tumble around a brooder is better therapy than whatever the Fed's prescribing. Until next time, stay loud, stay smart, and never trust a bill with the word beautiful in the name. See you tomorrow.